Vogt. I was born in Windhoek in 1962. I grew up in Windhoek. I went to school in Windhoek at the Orban Primary School in 1969. Then I was one of the first children that went to the Delta School, as it is known today, and later to the Jan Muir High School in Windhoek West. I liked school because I liked to learn. I had very pleasant teachers in my primary school. But when I came to the high school, the pressure was upped a bit. And in our time, the disciplinary was enforced very strictly. So there was a lot of beating going on in the classes and also in the headmaster's office and so. And it in fact influenced the choice of my subjects. We had, for instance, a woodwork teacher that was very strict, so he hit us a lot. This is why I stopped taking woodwork. Then we had bookkeeping, which also had a very strict teacher who also used to hit us a lot. So I stopped bookkeeping, and ultimately I chose a subject that we could choose, which was geography, which was a very good choice because geography is a very versatile subject next to the natural sciences like maths and physics and chemistry. But geography opens a lot of doors, although it is a bit underrated at school. So in hindsight, when I look at my further career after school, I saw that with languages and with natural sciences like maths, science and geography, I had chosen a very good portfolio at school. It suited me well, and it influenced my further career when I went to the army. I was drafted into the intelligence corps. These are the guys who work with maps and who do briefings and who collect information and data that influences the course of the battle. I was very lucky to have a military time that was not pleasant, but it was much better than the guys who were involved in real fighting and fighting the war. So one can actually see how a school career is vital in determining the path that you follow after school. I secured a scholarship from the civil service, the Central Personnel Office in Windhoek, and I did a humanities degree, Bachelor of Arts, and later an honors degree. After my undergraduate studies in Stellenbosch, I returned to Namibia. That was 1989. It was 1 year before independence. And I started a career as a civil servant in the Ministry of Basic Education then, from where I was seconded to the National Monuments Council. The National Monuments Council later became the National Heritage Council of Namibia. So I was involved there from the time of 1989 till 2001. During that time, Namibia became independent, and I also realized that I would never be a civil servant for the rest of my life because the salary was very weak. So I continued with my academic studies, and this time abroad at the University of Bamberg in Germany, where I then did a postgraduate diploma in heritage conservation and also later a PhD, a doctorate in philosophy. Now, if you look at my academic career, you can actually see how the one evolves into the next one. Hadn't I done an undergraduate degree at Stellenbosch, I wouldn't have had the admission to a higher education in Germany. And that actually opened the way to the bursaries that the German government gave me then in order to complete these studies. Now, for all these grades, I worked very hard because I had to work in daytime and continue with my studies in the evening time. But these were very rewarding years because after I left the civil service in 2001, they enabled me to continue with my life all on my own as a writer of academic books and of articles and as a journalist and everything that has to do with the profession of writing and publishing and journalism and being active in the media world. I never intended and planned to become a cultural historian in Namibia. In fact, my original choice would have been a nautical career, going to sea, becoming a ship's captain and hitting the merchant fleet, because this would have been a career that I could have pursued all over the world. But life drew me back to my home base here in Windhoek, and via my academic studies and so, I actually carved out a career as a writer and as an author, as I'm doing today. Here, this work is my master's thesis at the University of Stellenbosch. It took 3 years to complete. This is my doctoral thesis, my PhD thesis. It was published in 2002. It is a standard work on military buildings in this country in the German period. Next, I published my master's thesis on the monuments in Namibia. In my time, I researched a lot of material that did not find its way into my academic work, and I published it in alternative media like the Flamingo in-flight magazine of Air Namibia, and these are all subjects that had never been researched before. This is a work that was a bit of an act of passion, where I published a historical postcard collection. It is more of a research work and stands in many libraries abroad, amongst others the Library of Congress in New York. So, it should be noted that life is not about a career. Rather, life is about a succession of careers, where the one opens the doors into the next career. And it's actually a dialogue that you keep in with yourself. You must actually listen to yourself and observe your environment that you are in, to what works for you and not what works for others and lets you being exploited or lets you being excluded, because you want to be part of life and you want to be in it. And sometimes you have to take a bit of a gamble, or you have to make an unconventional move, or you have to pluck the rope a bit. But ultimately, something will come out of it that defines you and that shapes you, and this is where the destiny in your life is actually in your hands, even if it's only a small bit.